Hi, thanks for joining me again on this journey of awareness, this journey of being a better version of ourselves. Yeah. Well, all of us are, are sons and daughters, right? And we feel a sense of obligation sometimes to be a good son or a good daughter. Yeah. And some of us have siblings, so we have brothers and sisters, so we also might feel an obligation to be a good brother or a good sister. Some of us are in a relationship or married, so we feel that sometimes we need to be a good boyfriend or a good girlfriend or a good husband or a good wife. And some of us are blessed with children, and we feel that we need to be a good parent, right? We're obligated to be a good parent. Now, today we're going to talk about just that, exactly that, obligation. Yeah, living a life of obligation versus living a life of love. All right. Now, what does obligation mean? Well, it just basically means this: to be obligated to do something means that we have to do something. We like it or not, we have to do it. Yeah? So when we live a life of obligation, when we live a life that we constantly feel that we have to do something, eventually we'll have resentment, right? We'll have resentment, and we'll have we feel that it's unfair, and eventually we'll resist. And because we have resentment, because we feel that we need to resist, it will cause us pain. And when there's pain, we will try to escape that pain. Yeah. And when we live a life of obligation or so, sometimes when we do something out of obligation, we feel that the other person is obligated to return a favor or whatever it is we did, and there's expectation, right? So when that person doesn't fulfill that obligation, what happens? Well, we feel let down, we feel cheated, we feel that it's unfair. All right. And again, there's pain, and we want to escape again. Yeah. Now, I want you to think about this. What if we shift obligation to a life of love? Yes, a life of love. Obligation to a life of love. Now, when we shift to a life of love, there are no more obligations. Meaning, when we do something out of love, it is out of love that we do it because we love that person very much. Um, for instance, a husband and a wife, when the husband prepares or the wife prepares the breakfast for a spouse, when a couple prepares a meal for a spouse out of love instead of obligation, now that changes everything, isn't it? Because if it's made out, when it's done out of love, then there are no expectations. It's because you love that person. You made that fantastic meal because you know that person loves it. Yeah. And those of us who have children, who are blessed enough to have children, we know what will know exactly what that means, because when we prepare food for our child, what expectation do we have of that child to return that favor? Yeah, maybe a little bit of, when we see the child enjoy that meal, that is good enough. That gratitude, that happiness is good enough. There's no obligation for the child to prepare the meal back for us. Now, as an example of those of us who have pets, when you have a dog, all right, you're out at work and you come home, the dog has been waiting for you the whole day, and the dog will love you no matter what, no matter what day you've had. Yeah, and we'll do it over and over again. And when we see our pet, when we see our dog, for instance, some of you may have a cat, some of you may have some exotic pet, right? When we see our pet, the pet is exactly that. I have a dog. I don't expect the dog to be something else. I don't expect my dog to be a cat or anything. There's no expectation of my dog to be that way. Yeah, I do not try and change my dog because there's no expectation of my dog to be in a certain way. I do not feel a need to change my dog. So when we live a life of obligation, we might be having this thought that we need to change the person to be the person that we want them to be, because we're obligated a certain way and we feel that the person is obligated to be a certain way. Yeah. So when we shift, when we do things out of love, that is taken out of the equation, right? Yeah. When you no longer feel the need to control, that frees you up to love the way you are supposed to love. That frees you up to be the person that you're supposed to be. Yeah. So think about, what you do every single time with the people that you love, how you interact with them, and how you feel about what you do for them. Is it a sense of obligation? It is very easy to actually reframe that, to change that. However, it takes practice. I should actually rephrase that. It is a simple thing for us to do, to change from obligation to love. It is definitely not easy. That I need to correct myself. It's not easy because I've been doing that for a long time and am still practicing it. Yeah. All right. So I want you to think about that. The obligation that you might be feeling all this while, and change it to love. All right. Do that for yourself. Do that for the people that's around you. First and foremost, do that for yourself. All right. Thanks for joining me on this journey of being a better version of ourselves. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.